Hello and welcome. So today, guys, I'm going to be reviewing for you the latest launch from Kilian Paris, which is Angels Share Paradis. Now, guys, this is, I would say, one of the most anticipated launches of 2025. And here we are, barely into the month of January, and we already have a major launch such as this one. Now, Angels Share, the original, the OG, is a fragrance that is quite iconic and that is very, very popular. Of course, it's been viral forever. And to be honest with you, I did not expect that they were going to launch a flanker to that fragrance. But as soon as I heard about Angels Share Paradis and I heard that it's supposed to have a raspberry note added to the original, I thought, oh no, I have to try that fragrance. And of course, guys, I have to review it for you because Angels Share the OG is such an iconic fragrance that how could I not take a serious and close look at its first flanker. So of course, today I will be giving you a detailed review of Angels Share Paradis. And as a part of that, I will also be comparing it to the OG. I will be answering all of your questions, which I assume you want to know. How does it compare to the OG? Is it an immediate like or a love for me? Should you pick up this new one, or is it redundant if you still have the OG? And of course, is it better than the OG? So of course, I will be reviewing it for you. I will also be rating it. And at the end of the video, I will be telling you which one of the two I definitely prefer. But before we jump right in, if this is your first time here, I'm Arahi, and I'm your fragrance concierge because I am totally committed to creating the best fragrance experience for you. I upload videos multiple times a week, and in this channel, we discuss all types of fragrance. Now, if that sounds like the type of content that you're interested in and like a good plan, then please consider subscribing, give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget, leave a comment. Let's go. And here we have, guys, Angels Share Paradis. Now, I'm sure as soon as you look at it, you can tell that there is a considerable difference in the cap of the bottle between the original Angels Share and Angels Share Paradis. Now, in Angels Share Paradis, we do have like a wooden cap, even though they are still a part of the liquors collection of Kilian. Now, Angels Share Paradis is supposed to be inspired by the finest aged oak barrel cognac. So that is why the cap is wooden instead of the regular glass cap that we find in all of the fragrances of the Kilian liquor collection. Of course, Angels Share Paradis was just launched in 2025. And the interesting thing for me is that there are truly, in my opinion, no other flankers to the OG Angels Share, because although there have been two other launches specific to Angels Share, I really don't consider them a flanker. Now, if we really look at the definition of a flanker, flanker is supposed to be like a perfume that is derived from the original and which shares the same attributes. But I would not say that the two Angels Share launches that we've seen through the years are really flankers. Let's talk a little bit about that. So the OG Angels Share was launched in 2020, and later in 2021, they did launch a collaboration between Angels Share, Kilian Angels Share, and French Montana, the artist. And, those two fragrances were pretty much the same because the only addition to the note structure of the OG for that specific launch was the note of hazelnut. Now in 2022, we find another launch for Angels Share, but this one is the anniversary edition. And what they did with that note structure is that they added candied almonds, and that was in 2022. So while there was a slight difference in the note structure, it really did make a significant impact to the OG fragrance scent. But at that, guys, you may want to consider those two as a flanker because there are changes in the note structure. But All in all, I think that this is the first major flanker, to call it something, going off of the original Angel Share. Now, it's very important that I also tell you that all throughout, right, all of these Angel Share launches, of course, to include the original, have been a creation of the perfumer Benoit Lapouza. And he has been responsible for all of these fragrances, including the flanker that I'm going to share with you today. So before we go into the details of Angels Share Paradis, I did want to tell you a little bit about the OG so that when I do the comparison, you can understand where I'm coming from. So Angels Share, the OG, is a fragrance that opens up very sweet and boozy. This is a very, very boozy fragrance. This is also a fragrance that has quite a bit of vanilla, and at the dry down, it is definitely powdery. All throughout the olfactory journey, I not only pick up that booziness and that almost thick, syrupy quality of the fragrance with that vanilla, but I also pick up on woodiness. But the woodiness, although not faint, is always in the backdrop. All in all, guys, this is truly an exquisite fragrance, but it is also, in my opinion, truly unisex. This is a fragrance that does not lean to the feminine or to the masculine side, and I think it is best suited for the ages of 25 plus and for late afternoon to evening to late night occasions. This is not a fragrance that I would wear just for any occasion, day or night. To me, this is best suited for, like I said, late afternoon into the late night. Now, this is also a fragrance that performs exquisitely. This fragrance on my skin is definitely beast mode because it does give me a very strong projection during the first, I would say, 2.5 hours without having to overspray. And it does have also a very good sillage that will get you attention and compliments. This is a fragrance that, in my opinion, all of the hype, right, that it has received through the years since this launch is definitely deserved. This is one of those fragrances that I plan to have in my collection forever. This is my second bottle, and I can also tell you that it layers beautifully with so many fragrances. This is also a fragrance that I really think is best suited for the seasons of fall, spring, and winter. Do I ever really pull this fragrance during the summer? No, not even like on a reasonably warm day. No, this is a fragrance that to me is perfection for colder weather, and one that I really do not recommend because I am sure it would be cloying during a very hot summer day. All right, so now let's go ahead and take a detailed look at Angels Share Paradis. So this is a fragrance, guys, that I have to tell you, I am absolutely loving this fragrance. But I also must say that to me, this is definitely a flanker of the OG, but at that, it is a fragrance that is quite different. While you will find some of the same accords and qualities and attributes of the OG, this is a totally different fragrance in my opinion, guys. So let me tell you, this is a fragrance that to my nose opens up very sweet, very fruity, which is something that we do not find in the OG and which I'll talk about more when I go into the comparison. But this fragrance opens up, like I said, sweet and fruity, and then it has like a faint rose in the backdrop. Now, this rose is a very fresh rose. It's like a freshly bloomed kind of rose. In the opening, I also get booziness, but it's a very, very faint, almost like negligible booziness in the opening. But as the olfactory journey continues, you are going to find that that booziness intensifies, but never to the same degree of booziness that you find in the OG. As I'm sure you noticed in the notes that I shared with you, the note of praline is supposed to be in this fragrance, but I don't pick it up at all, guys. I really don't pick up on pralines at all. And I also don't pick up on the nuttiness, that accord that comes as a result of having any type of nut in your fragrance, right? So the pralines to my nose definitely do not show up. Now, the most important and beautiful thing is that the note of raspberry, guys, is the star of this fragrance. For sure. So if you are not into fragrances that have that note of raspberry, I still encourage you to get your nose on this fragrance because the way that the raspberry has been done here is absolutely exquisite. You will find the raspberry all the way from first sniff throughout the entire olfactory journey and throughout the wear of the fragrance. The raspberry is a very juicy, real, and very, very fruity, like a real fruit type of raspberry. There is nothing synthetic about it, at least to my nose and on my skin and on paper. I did test this fragrance on paper, on skin. I sprayed it, and I've tried it for 2 days in a row. And I can tell you that the raspberry is very, very realistic. In that fruity opening that I described to you, you are going to find the raspberry. But although they have not disclosed it, I'm picking up on a couple of other fruits. And I wonder if there's not like some bergamot, because the other thing is that this is a very airy fragrance. This is not syrupy. This is a very airy fragrance that does have some booziness, but the booziness is not intense at all to my nose. This is more about the fruity notes playing with that floral, right, which is all about the rose, that crisp, freshly bloomed rose that is always present. And then you're also going to pick up on what's going to feel like a note of vanilla and caramel. But I have to tell you that when you pick that up, it's really the tonka. So the tonka bean does give the fragrance that quality and brings in those tonalities of like vanilla and caramel. So I'm telling you guys, this fragrance is just absolutely exquisite. The other thing is that because of the olfactory journey that it provides and the notes that are involved, this fragrance is definitely, to me, unisex, but leaning to the feminine side. Is it leaning heavy to the feminine side? No, but it is definitely leaning to the feminine side because you are going to pick up on the sweetness, on the fruitiness, on the florals. I tell you, it is just an absolutely exquisitely done fragrance. And at the dry down, guys, this fragrance for me is really not powdery. What this is a beautifully done raspberry fragrance, very dominant raspberry fragrance that along with the raspberry has been done so smoothly that it brings like that fruity, sweet quality to the picture. And all along you are going to get that fresh rose, and then you're going to pull in like that vanilla and the caramel, which is really as a result of the tonka bean. And at the dry down, you are just going to be in heaven with the most exquisite, boozy but not very boozy fragrance. And then guys, let's talk about performance, because the performance of this fragrance, oh my goodness, guys. So although this fragrance is not really full on beast mode, this is a fragrance that gives me a full day wear, which means that I can easily wear it without having to overspray 8+ hours. At that, you are going to get a very strong projection during the first 2 to 2.5 hours. After that, it becomes a scent bubble. And then towards the end, it does become an intimate skin scent. But at that, this is a fragrance that you're going to sniff on yourself all throughout the day. And I have to tell you, you are going to fall in love with this fragrance immediately, because to me, although I'm not saying that this is definitely a crowd pleaser, this is definitely a mass appealing scent profile and a fragrance that, while adding that airiness, just makes it so wearable and so manageable. This is a fragrance that you can use day and night for any occasion, and I think is best suited for the ages of 25+. I also think that Different than the OG, this is a fragrance that you can use in any season of the year, but I would still be cautious when you plan to use it on a very, very hot summer day. Other than that, guys, this is a fragrance that will take you throughout the year, all seasons, all occasions. So I think I shared while I was speaking about Angels Share Paradis because I just couldn't help it, right? Because they are the things, like the differences are like the items that really caught my attention and have me fascinated with this fragrance, because I never expected Kilian to launch a flanker to the OG that would be so manageable, right? Like, so I have to say, it's so very well suited for females. And am I saying that Paradis is a fragrance that is not for the gents? No, that is not what I'm saying at all. But that it does lean feminine to me, absolutely it leans feminine. So let's talk about the differences between these two fragrances. So the opening, guys, oh my goodness, the opening is completely different because in the OG, the opening is very, very, very sweet, almost to the point, to my nose, of being a bit sickly sweet, even though it never bothered me. I absolutely love it. But the opening is very, very, very sweet and heavy on the booze, very, very boozy. That is not the case, guys, whatsoever with Paradis. In Paradis, it's going to open with a tad of booziness, and it's going to open very fruity and a bit sweet. Is it like barely sweet? No, the opening in Paradis is sweet, it is fruity, and it is a tad boozy, but literally a tad boozy. As the olfactory journey continues, when this fragrance really intensifies on the booziness, this one kicks in with the rose. And oh my goodness, that is a super, in my opinion, game changer between these two fragrances, because the opening of this fragrance, while being airy, midway through the olfactory journey, the fragrance does become a bit airier, even though the booziness intensifies just a bit. Because this fragrance, Paradis, is nowhere near, and I keep repeating that, as boozy as the OG. At the dry down, you here in the OG get a very, very, very boozy, very sweet, very syrupy, very like sticky kind of fragrance that is absolutely incredible and perfection, in my opinion, for the seasons of fall and winter. But with Paradis, you are going to get the most beautiful, tad boozy, sweet without being too sweet, with like the vanilla and the caramel accord brought on by the tonka bean. And then you're also going to get that rose, which is always present in the olfactory journey and throughout the wear of the fragrance. All in all, guys, I am telling you, while there are similarities in Paradis, to me, Paradis is a completely different fragrance than the OG. As it relates to performance, I have to tell you that on my skin, the OG does perform better because it's beast mode. But on Paradis, it's not beast mode, but I can't complain because it gives me a full day wear without having to overspray. It does get you compliments, and it is going to project beautifully. So all in all, these two are pretty consistent when it comes to performance. So let's answer some of the questions that I know you may have. So, do I like this one more than the OG? Let me just start by telling you that I do. I absolutely love the OG. I think that the OG is just an incredible fragrance. It's like a masterpiece because it is a scent profile that had never been done, in my opinion, to this level of intensity and precision. But when it comes to Angels Share Paradis, guys, I just think that the fragrance is so well suited for a female, because at times I do, like I have to be in a certain mood to be able to wear and pull off Angels Share the OG. Because Angels Share the OG is very thick, it's very syrupy, it's a very, very intense fragrance. While this one is an intense fragrance, please do not get me wrong, there's nothing weak about this fragrance. It's the entire note composition and structure and the way that the blend has been done, which makes it a very airy and again, wearable fragrance that has some fruitiness, some floral quality to it, while also having that beautiful vanilla and caramel in the midst. The other question that you may have is, do they smell the same? These two fragrances do not smell the same. When you wear Paradis, will you know that you're wearing, like if you know fragrances, and of course, if you know Angels Share, will you know that there's like a vibe, a similarity with Angels Share? Absolutely. But are they the same fragrance? Guys, they are not. They really are not. The other question you may have is this one at first sniff a like for me or a love? I'm going to tell you right now that at first sniff, this was a deep love. Like, I was just so happy that this was such a success, because I was concerned that, you know, being a flanker coming out of a fragrance like Angel Share, like how could this one live up, right? Be even better than the OG. But my goodness, Kilian has done it, because I'm telling you, I am absolutely loving the way that this fragrance has been done. The next question I'm sure you're going to have is, Arahi, do I need to pick up this one if I have the OG? So let me just tell you this. If you enjoy a fruity fragrance, not a fruit bomb fragrance, because this is not fruity to that level. This is just a fruity and floral, you know, gourmandish kind of fragrance, in my opinion, right? If you enjoy that type of fragrance, and most importantly, if you enjoy the scent profile of the OG, then this is a must for you. If you are a serious fan of the OG, then this one is a must for you. And I would be hard pressed to believe that you are not going to like it. Now, if what you love about the OG is that it is very thick and syrupy and very sweet, that everything about it is intense, then you may want to get yourself a sample of this one, because I told you this one, while also being a different fragrance, it's also airier, definitely airier. And then the question of, is it better than the OG? It's not necessarily, guys, in my opinion, that it's better than the OG, because they're different. But I will tell you, I just really love the way that they've done this fragrance. It's not necessarily that it's better. Do I plan to keep this one in my collection forever? Absolutely. To me, this is an iconic fragrance that I will always have in my collection. It's like Baccarat Rouge 540. We can say whatever we want about that fragrance, but that at this point is like a classic for a collector. Well, I feel the same about Kilian's Angel Share. So all in all, guys, I have to tell you that I really give this fragrance a 10 out of 10. All right, guys, so we've reached the end of today's video, and it has been so exciting for me to discover a new fragrance from Kilian that has really captured my heart and my passion, because I am truly in love with this fragrance. I have to tell you that I did not expect it to be not necessarily that I did not expect it to be this good, but I just did not expect to find this. So it has been such a pleasant surprise and the perfect way to start 2025. So we've reached the end of today's video, and I just want to thank you again for hanging with me. I also want to know if you've gotten your nose on this latest launch from Kilian, and what are your thoughts? If you haven't tried it, let me know if you're just planning to pick it up or if you're planning to try it first. And of course, I am very interested to know everybody's thoughts once you try it. As always, thank you for being with me here today, and I will see you all in the next video.